Do you ever spend so much time learning and consuming content that you don't have time to act on it? In this episode, we're going to talk about 5 steps that you can take to get your idea into action so that you can create the impact that you've always wanted to create. Welcome to the Build Your Brand Show. Quick, actionable tips to help you share your expertise to create impact. I'm Kathy, your host. If you're an entrepreneur, you probably have a lot of ideas and things you want to do. And if you're like me, the ideas are the easy part. The real challenge is going from your idea to action. So whether it's your time constraints, priorities, or simply not knowing where or how to start, we're going to talk about the 5 steps that you can take to get into action. And I'd like to look at this from a personal perspective and also business, because anything that you do where you take on challenges in any part of your life can transfer to your business. It takes mindset and getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable as you put yourself out there in a new challenge. So one of the examples I'm going to give you is just running a 5K, and I'm going to compare that to starting a podcast. So for a few years, I've been part of a group that Jesse Itzler started called Build Your Life Resume, and that has turned into the all-day running club. And a lot of people in that group are super motivated and endurance athletes. They run marathons, they run 100 miles. Just being around that, I was inspired to simply run a 5K after not running for 10 years. So I had the idea, I had the intention to run a 5K. How do you get that into action? So I'm going to break that into 5 steps that you can take, and I'm going to give you an example through how I got ready to run a 5K. So you start with an intention, and then you walk through these 5 steps. With the right tools, techniques, coach, support, and practice, you can make it happen. So let's break those 5 parts down. Number 1 is tools. I had to be sure that I had the appropriate tennis shoes for running, of course, to protect my feet, and the right socks. So I had the tools for running, and I needed that to get started, of course. The second thing was the techniques. So through the all-day running club, which was Build Your Life Resume back then, they offered a 30-day challenge and gave me the step-by-step daily routine for getting myself in shape for running a 5K. So now I had a plan that I could follow to learn the right techniques. The third thing was a coach. So a coach can help guide you and answer questions and really fast track your learning curve because they can fill in the gaps and shorten the time it takes. So in this situation, we had a coach for a 30-day challenge, and that helped a lot. And the fourth is support. So just being in a community where you're inspired by like-minded people who also encourage you as you step into the unknown and learn a new skill or try to do something new that you've not done before. And the fifth component is practice, doing the work each and every day. So in order for me to go from being able to run 10 seconds to being able to run a 5K, which is about 3.5 miles, I had to go out and run and practice every day. So I started out, I would run about 10 seconds, and then I would walk for 4 minutes. And then I would run for another 10 seconds, and this would go on for about 20 minutes. And I did that every day. That and also some of the warm-up exercises for running. And that was very helpful. And I was actually able to do the 5K. And it was very exciting to get that 5K medal. And this applies to everything. So let's apply it to doing this podcast. So the first thing you need, of course, is your tools. And so you need a microphone, a way to record it, a device like my computer. I use GarageBand. And then you have to learn the techniques. So being a producer, and also I used to film and edit, a lot of the techniques that I had already learned were very useful. The third part is a coach. So when I started this podcast, I attended a 2-hour workshop to learn how to set up your podcast and the best places for loading it, and a lot of tips and tricks. And the guy that taught it talked so fast and jammed so much information into that 2-hour period that I learned everything I needed to know to get started. So having a coach saved me a ton of time, and he was able to answer questions if we had any questions. And the fourth is support. Having others that also started a podcast is helpful, but when I started this, I pulled in friends that I knew and experts to get started. So having that collaboration and that teamwork, it felt like, was very supportive in the process. So grab a friend that you think the content would be interesting and get started if you want to start a podcast. And then practice. You plan it and then you put in the reps. And the more you speak, the better you will get. It takes a lot of courage. So then you go back to your support or others that are doing it And then you might have a question, so you ask your coach, or you get feedback and ask questions. And having a coach will save you a ton of time. And one reason why I started podcasting really is to get practice speaking, because I'm used to being behind the camera for so many years, over 10 years behind the camera. And I like producing and being behind the scenes. And now I feel like it's time for me to step in front of the camera, because having a successful career in sales, being a TV producer on an Emmy-nominated show, working with the best in the business, helping others produce their channels, digital media and marketing, monetizing channels, creating courses, really gives me a unique and 360 approach to the whole world of media and helping you build your brand. I'd like to share my unique experience. Even if I can just help one person, it would be worth it. So take action. What is it for you? Set your intention, then plan. Get the right tools, learn the techniques, get a coach to help you fast track the process, surround yourself with support, and then practice. And the more you practice, the better you will get. And then the next thing you know, you'll be achieving your goals or growing in the process. Your message matters. Make it count. And if you need help building your brand, go to brandmakermedia.com/consult and let's hop on a call. Now go out there and create impact.